Harvard students have the same 24 hours as you. Same brain, same biology, same limits. But they outperform you, consistently. Not because they're smarter. That's the lie. Most people think Harvard students are geniuses. Wrong. Most of them are just average people running a better system. A cognitive system that turns effort into results. A mindset that makes performance automatic. I'm about to show you exactly how they think, train, and operate. And by the end of this, you'll never approach productivity the same way again. Chapter 1. The environment. Hack. Most people think success starts with motivation. Wrong. It starts with environment. Average people rely on willpower. Harvard students remove the need for it. Walk into a Harvard library. No phones, no noise. No distractions. It's not discipline. It's design. Cal Newport calls this deep work. Sustained, distraction-free concentration that produces real results. The University of California found it takes 23 minutes to refocus after interruption. You get interrupted every few minutes. Do the math. You never actually focus. But here's the thing, though. Harvard students don't fight distraction. They eliminate it. They engineer their day like a lab experiment. Phone in another room, website blockers on, time blocks scheduled like meetings. What average people do? Study with 10 tabs open. Check notifications every 30 seconds. Why it's wrong. Your brain is addicted to dopamine. Cheap hits destroy deep thinking. What elites do instead, they create artificial scarcity. Limited inputs, controlled focus. Research shows scarcity increases depth of processing. Example, one Harvard student studies with only one book and a notebook. No Google, no multitasking. Result? Higher retention, faster understanding. They're not working harder. Their brain just works properly. Now you have focus. But here's the problem, though. Focus alone doesn't create performance. You can focus for hours and still learn nothing. That's where the second system comes in. Chapter 2. The stakes illusion. Most people think Harvard students are motivated. Wrong. They're pressured, massively. Average people study for grades. Harvard students study for identity. Failure isn't just a bad score. It's social collapse. Everyone around them is elite. Everyone is competing. Psychologist Robert Bjork calls this desirable difficulty. When stakes increase, memory encoding strengthens. Your brain flags it as important. But here's the trick. You don't need Harvard to create this. You can simulate it. What average people do, study casually. No urgency, no pressure. Why it's wrong, your brain treats it as optional. Optional information gets deleted. What elites do instead, they create artificial consequences. Deadlines, public accountability, teaching others. Example, Harvard students form study groups where they must explain topics. If they fail, they look stupid. That pressure forces clarity. In Make It Stick, researchers show active recall under pressure improves retention by over 50%. They don't just read, they perform. They test themselves constantly. Cold recall, no notes, no help? Because here's the truth. Reading feels productive. It's not. It's an illusion of competence. But here's the problem, though. Even if you create pressure, even if you test yourself, you'll still forget everything. That's where the third system comes in. Chapter 3. The memory algorithm. Most people think memory is about repetition. Wrong. It's about timing. Hermann Ebbinghaus discovered the forgetting curve. You lose most information within days. Your brain is a leaky bucket, but Harvard students don't fight forgetting. They schedule it. What average people do? Cram for hours? Forget everything next week. Why it's wrong. Cramming overloads short-term memory. Nothing gets stored long-term. What elites do instead? Spaced repetition. Review at the exact moment before forgetting. That's when memory locks in. Tools like Anki automate this. But the principle is simple. Review arrow, forget arrow, review arrow, strengthen. Example, a Harvard medical student studies flashcards daily for 15 minutes. Not 5 hours, 15 minutes, but perfectly timed. Result, near-perfect recall months later. Because memory isn't about effort, it's about precision. But here's the thing, though. Even perfect memory isn't enough. You can remember everything and still be slow. That's where the real advantage begins. Chapter 4. The thinking system. Most people think intelligence is knowledge. Wrong. It's structure. Harvard students don't store information. They compress it. Psychologists call this chunking. Instead of 20 separate facts, they see one pattern. What average people do? Memorize isolated details. Why it's wrong, your brain gets overloaded. Too many loose pieces. What elites do instead? They build mental models, frameworks, systems, connections. Example, instead of memorizing 50 economic terms, they understand one model of supply and demand. Everything fits into it. It's like compressing files. You're carrying loose groceries. They're using bags. Same weight, different efficiency. But here's the problem, though. Even if you think better, even if you remember better, most people still fail. Why? Because they practice wrong. Chapter 5. The Practice Trap. Most people think practice makes perfect. Wrong, practice makes permanent. If you practice wrong, you get permanently bad. And that's exactly what average people do. What average people do? Repeat entire tasks over and over. Why it's wrong? You reinforce mistakes. No improvement, just repetition. What elites do instead? Deliberate practice. Erickson studied this for decades. Elite performers isolate weaknesses, then attack them directly. Example: Harvard debate students don't practice full speeches. They practice just one thing: transitions, tone, eye contact, one weakness at a time. Immediate feedback, immediate correction. It feels uncomfortable. Good. That means it's working. Because here's the truth: comfort is the enemy of growth. But here's the thing though. Even if you practice perfectly, there's still one problem. Final loop. The hidden constraint. Even if you build focus, even if you create pressure, even if you master memory, you can still fail because you're learning the wrong things. Most people optimize speed, but ignore direction. Fast learning of useless knowledge is still useless. Harvard students avoid this. They focus on high-leverage knowledge, the 20% that drives 80% of results. They ask one question: what actually matters? And they ignore everything else. So now you understand the system. Environment controls focus. Pressure drives learning. Timing locks memory. Structure speeds thinking. Practice builds skill. That's the mindset. Not talent, not IQ, not luck, a system. And systems can be copied. But here's the problem though. Knowing this isn't enough. If you don't rewire your brain to actually follow it, you'll fall back to old habits. Scrolling, multitasking, wasting time. That's why I made another video breaking down exactly how to reprogram your brain for deep focus and eliminate distraction permanently. Watch that next. Because once you fix that, everything else becomes almost unfair.